COVAX COVID-19 vaccines. Thanks a lot for staying tuned into the news. More proactive, decisive and robust plan of action have been unfolded by the National Security Council towards restoring security and stability across Nigeria, as well as nipping in the bud potential threats to peace and prosperity. Already, President Muhammadu Buhari has ordered the nation's military and intelligence community to trail, fish out and bring to justice all those directly or indirectly engaged in perpetrating acts of crime and criminality across the country, no matter how highly placed. The National Security Advisor, Babagana Mungono, who conveyed the President's directive to newsmen after an extraordinary meeting of the National Security Council, said Nigeria will not be allowed to drift into state failure.
This is the first meeting of the National Security Council since the nation's security architecture was rejigged with the appointment of new service chiefs for the armed forces. President Muhammadu Buhari, who summoned the crucial meeting, is worried that the level of security in the country is cascading for the worst, a situation he described as unacceptable. The meeting, which lasted more than 4 hours, discussed extensively the predominant issues of terrorism and insurgency, banditry, farmers-herders conflicts, and indeed kidnapping, with Jangebe school girls in Zamfara State as the latest victims.
Now, His Excellency the President has approved, based on our recommendation, the imposition and enforcement of a ban on all mining activities in Zamfara State with immediate effect until further notice. He has directed the Honorable Minister of Defense and the National Security Advisor to deploy massive military and intelligence assets to restore normalcy to that part of the country. He has also approved that Zamfara State be declared a no-fly zone with immediate effect.
Consequently, all non-state actors responsible for acts undermining national security and stability across Nigeria have been placed under surveillance by the intelligence agencies following reports of collusion by people from all walks of life.
Any individual who thinks he has any support and who thinks he can undermine this government will have himself to blame at the end of the day. Already the President has given directives to the military and the intelligence organizations to trail and flush out all the people that have been on our watch list. And I can assure you there's quite a handful of people on our watch list. They will be trailed, they will be rooted out, and they will be brought to book, they will be prosecuted, and they will be made an example of. And anybody who wants to use this situation to blackmail the government should have a rethink.
The National Security Advisor maintains that the federal government is not averse to the application of non-kinetic means of addressing the prevailing challenges of security. He was, however, quick to add that the Buhari administration will neither tolerate nor allow any individual or group bring down the country to its knees and put the citizenry in a state of panic, fear, apprehension, and mistrust.
The federal government will not hesitate to apply to the fullest its kinetic means to restore normalcy to the country. We will not allow this country to drift into state failure. And with effect from today, the new service chiefs have been given directives to reclaim all areas that have been dominated by bandits, by kidnappers, and other scoundrels and scallywags. I have also asked all the intelligence agencies to collapse all their efforts onto one platform so that with the convergence of effort, we would be able to give the required intelligence to the operational elements of government.
The National Security Council strongly warned that Nigerians assuming the status beyond what they should be and using religion or otherwise to stoke the flames of disorder in Nigeria will have themselves to blame.
The government is very, very serious about this.
From the State House, Adamu Sambo, NTAi News.
Still talking about security, but away from the State House, the Senate charges new service chiefs as the Senate has confirmed the nomination of the newly appointed service chiefs and urged them to take the war against insurgents and bandits to their enclaves. National Assembly correspondent Ignatius Nkwo reports.
The confirmation of the new service chiefs was preceded by the presentation of the report of the Senate Committee on Defense on the screening of the 4 nominees. Major General Loki Irabo as Chief of Defense Staff, Major General Ibrahim Atahiru, Chief of Army Staff, Rear Admiral Awal Gambo as Chief of Naval Staff, and Air Vice Marshal Ishaka Amao as Chief of Air Staff.
The intellect, the achievements, and the exploits of these nominees are very well documented in this report.
That these nominees are capable of spearheading our desire, our drive.
We expect them, our armed forces, to take the fight to the insurgents, to take the fight to the bandits.
Older Persons' Rights and Privileges Bill and the Child's Right Act Amendment Bill, which seeks to prohibit persons convicted of attempted rape from working with children, passed 3rd reading.
By excluding certain categories of persons from being employed either as caregivers, teachers, or in other circumstances that may expose or make such a child vulnerable or susceptible to sexual harassment.
The Chartered Institute of Forensic Investigative Professionals of Nigeria Establishment Bill also passed 3rd reading.
We will ensure that corruption, particularly in the public sector, but generally in both private and public sectors, are easily identified and nipped in the bud.
5 bills passed 1st reading. These include the Clean Nigeria Agency Establishment Bill. From the National Assembly, Ignatius Nkwo, NTAi News.
The House of Representatives has urged authorities to improve welfare of security personnel, especially those in battlefields and naval combat operations. National Assembly correspondent Lami Ali reported that this formed part of recommendations of the House Committee on Army following an investigation on purported resignation of more than 300 soldiers in 2020 alone.
Chairman of the House Committee on Army, Representative Abdulrazak Namda, says findings by the committee reveal that resignation of soldiers occur yearly as they are free to do so after at least 10 years of service. The report of mass resignation, as reported in some sections of the media, the committee noted was misleading.
The Army should continually embark on orientation of soldiers, both old and new, about the reality of their job and the need to be committed to their country. This will reduce the number of soldiers leaving the Army due to loss of interest.
The House, however, stressed that welfare of security personnel and delivery of such packages must be fair and equitable. Plenary adopted a motion from Representative Ahmed Jaha intimating the federal government on the need to secure the release of Pastor Bulus Wikura, abducted by Boko Haram in Chibok, Borno State last December, and the call from Representative Balarabe Salami appealing for the provision of relief materials to victims of banditry in Ilela, Sokoto State. The House has mandated committees on appropriation, finance and public accounts to engage ministries, departments and agencies of government to work out a strategic plan to enhance payments of utility bills as moved by Representative Uju Kingsley.
MDAs are often accused of not paying utility bills to the bodies responsible for the collection, thereby making it impossible to remit the funds to the government, and this has adverse effects on IGR.
A bill to establish Sustainable Development Fund and a bill to amend National Agency for Population Programs and Development passed 2nd reading. From the National Assembly, Lami Ali, NTAi News.
Away from plenaries, for a nation to operate international instruments, there is the need to review and amend its treaties and protocols in compliance with the provisions of its constitutions. Speaker, House of Representatives, in a message made this known at a public hearing on Treaties Making Procedure Bill 2020, Mobolaji Moribiri reports.
The Treaties Making Procedure Bill 2020 is aimed at repealing the Treaties Act of 1993, a product of the military regime. The decree made Nigerians lose benefits derivable from international instruments after much resources spent on negotiations.
When this amendment bill becomes law, it will make our laws on treaties and protocols fully compliant with the provisions of the 1999 Constitution and ensure that in this important area, we are aligned with global best practices.
Therefore, become necessary, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished honorable colleagues, for a timely legislative intervention or a paradigm shift in order to put our country in good standing among the Committee of Nations.
During the interactive session, experts were of the opinion that there is need for synergy between the three tiers of government before signing international treaties.
It is necessary for the Parliament and the Parliament and the executive branch to work cooperatively in the treaty-making process. No one arm of government can take all the power. The power is a shared responsibility between the executive branch and the Parliament.
Is that the bill includes an entirely new provision in Clause 9, where it provides that approval must first be sought and obtained from the National Assembly before any treaty or agreement is signed on behalf of the Federation.
The bill seeks to establish a new framework for treaties in the interest of Nigeria with the best global practice. From the National Assembly, Mobolaji Moribiri, NTAi News.
Now let's talk of COVID-19 as Director of Park and Recreation, FCTA, Reskatu Abdulaziz, speaks on the enforcement of COVID-19 protocols in respect of parks and environmental matters in the FCT.
We'll see at the beginning of the enforcement, markets were closed because of non-compliance, but after that warning was sounded by closure of markets, people started complying to the COVID protocols in all our marketplaces, and the same thing in parks too. FCT administration, through the various task forces put in place, are trying to make sure that they surmount the challenges by constantly monitoring these places for people to comply. The most worrisome part as it is now is the indiscriminate felling of trees in the territory. It is becoming so rampant, people don't have recourse to the law, but our enforcement officers are all out to fish out any area where we hear the sound of chainsaw. It means trees are being felled, and we go there and apprehend them.
You're watching the News at 10 on NTAi News 24, coming to you from Abuja, Nigeria's capital city. We're taking a break. More news in just a moment.
For now, the best and most efficient way to avoid getting infected is through regular hygienic and sanitary practices, as well as social distancing. As individuals, we remain the greatest weapon to fight this pandemic. By washing our hands regularly with clean water and soap, disinfecting frequently used surfaces and areas, coughing into a tissue or elbow, and strictly adhering to infection prevention control measures in health facilities, we can contain this virus.
Thanks a lot for staying tuned in. Information and Culture Minister and Chairman Digital Switchover Ministerial Task Force Team Lai Mohammed says only rich content can successfully drive digitization process. The minister stated this of an inaugural meeting of a task force in Abuja. Anthony Forson reports.
Pointing out that the task force cannot afford to fail ahead of the impending massive rollout across the country, the minister was emphatic about taking the issue of content serious.
The purchase of the set-top boxes by Nigerians will depend on the richness of the content offered. Before now, we either gave out the boxes free or at subsidized rates. But now that the project is being commercially driven, the sale of STBs will depend on the content.
He was particular about sports, entertainment, movies, news, both local and foreign, as well as children's programs, which are indispensable. The minister equally noted that looking inwards will help developing the Nigerian brand.
We must also tap into the great opportunity offered by this project to help popularize the local football league. We can work with the Nigerian Professional Football League, the NPFL, to have their weekly matches shown live. I have no doubt that they will be willing to work with us in this regard.
While these are being worked on, the need for massive publicity for the project, he added, is desirable as millions of Nigerians are still unaware of the true essence of the DSO project and the opportunities therein. Already, the minister said the process of implementing the audience measurement scheme, a critical component of the success of the DSO project, will be kickstarted soon to guide all content owners and channels to be able to get commensurate benefits for their efforts. In Abuja, Anthony Forson, NTAi News.
Nigeria is proud to be and will continue to promote those values that bind Commonwealth member nations together. In a briefing to herald this year's Commonwealth Day, Minister of Education Adamu said the ministry is committed in focusing on issues around the member nations of the organization. He said subjects such as English language, mathematics, sciences, and current affairs will be given priority in the series of activities for the Commonwealth Commemoration.
Nations, through interrelated networks, put together their resources and expertise in order to achieve innovation that would protect their collective natural resources, ensure ocean health, that is environmental health in our oceans, empower women and girls, sustain democratic governance, boost trade and education, and help evolve measures to guard against COVID-19 pandemic for the common good of all member countries.
The Commonwealth Commemoration is a unique celebration of unity in diversity by 54 countries standing on equal status and continually progressing as a formidable force in international relations. As part of plans to fulfill the promise of lifting millions of Nigerians out of poverty through a number of social intervention programs, the training of independent monitors for the Integrated National Social Investment Programs has commenced in Owerri. Beatrice Anyam reports that the training attracted participants from the 27 local government areas of Imo State.
As part of its commitment to Nigerians, the federal government set up a number of social intervention programs aimed at lifting many out of poverty. The training of independent monitors for the Integrated National Social Investment Programs across the 27 local government areas of Imo State is aimed at ensuring actualization of the goals of the poverty alleviation programs. According to the Special Advisor to the Imo State Governor on Sustainable Development Goals and Humanitarian Services, Christiana Ude, the participants will be assigned to monitor program beneficiaries in schools, households, and market clusters within their localities, with the focus of ensuring that the primary objectives of these programs are achieved. She urges the monitors to carry out their responsibility with utmost diligence and dedication, noting that the government will not hesitate to disengage anyone found violating the terms of engagement.
What you're expecting from the trainees is for them to monitor all of the programs that are taking place in the state. These independent monitors have to make sure that they don't just go and pick out all of their family members, that they're, picking out people who really need these soft loans or these soft monies.
The National Social Investment Program, which include the Empower, National Homegrown School Feeding Program, and Conditional Cash Transfer, among others, were created by the present administration in 2016 to empower the poor and the vulnerable. In Owerri, Beatrice Anyanyam, NTAi News.
Humanitarian consideration is key in negotiation and payments of compensation for land acquired from host communities. This was the submission of a managing director of T-Pompey Concept Limited, Adaralegbe Akintayo. Joseph Hussein reported that the real estate developer was reacting to a social media report that the company has been inducing some settlers in Abuja.
After acquiring any land from government, developers are expected to settle amicably with the host community before developing the land. This is what T-Pompey Concert Limited said it applied when it genuinely acquired a land at Lugbe around Abuja Airport Road. The general manager of the company, however, expressed surprise over a video posted on social media that the company was inducing Fulani settlers in the Federal Capital Territory.
That we are trying to give Fulani money to buy more ammunition or to go after the people in FCT. I want to tell you the information is false. After the acquisition of the plots, we have to settle with the farmer for their farm produce and their farm crops on the land. We did. And we find out we have Fulani settlement on the land. And we believe on humanitarian ground that you can't just pursue them. That is where they've been staying.
Giving his side of the story, the chairman, Fulani Dan Allah Development Association of Nigeria, Abuja chapter, Abubakar Suleiman, said they were informed by the host community that the land has been acquired by T-Pompey Concert Limited and that the company wants to commence development. They mobilized and met with the company and both agreed on a 200,000 naira compensation pay constructed structure to enable them move to a new location, which was paid amicably.
Oga tell us, okay, make it right undertaking, say he don't say to these Fulanis. Some people there say, no, Oga do video for this thing, let the video be a witness to you say to these Fulanis. Oga say no problem. Oga ask him boys to do video there. Can the money give those Fulanis? After that, must come cover. Some people don't use that video talking different issue.
Head of the Fulani community said they have been living with their host community for over 30 years in peace and will not want anybody to bring disaffection and disunity among them. In Abuja, Joseph Sound Otsen, NTAi News.
Nigeria has taken delivery of about 4 million doses of Oxford AstraZeneca COVID-19 vaccines from the COVAX facility. Kenneth Nanim reported that the Secretary to the Government of the Federation and Chairman of a Presidential Task Force in COVID-19, Boss Mustafa, received the consignments on behalf of the federal government.
And that I would urge at the time of vaccination and deployment, if you fall into the category that will be vaccinated, make yourself available.
right, we'll bring you the packaged reports in a subsequent bulletin. Now, to updates of COVID-19 infections, as 479 new COVID-19 infections have been recorded in Nigeria in the last 24 hours, bringing the Nigeria's case load to 156,496. Data from the Nigeria Center for Disease Control, NCDC, indicates that the new infections occurred in 21 states and the FCT, beginning with Lagos, which recorded 153 cases, Enugu 75, Rivers 50, FCT 40, Kaduna 18, Ebonyi, Plateau and Edo State recorded 17 new cases each, Borno 16, Oyo 12, Kano 11, Abia and Cross River State recorded 10 new cases each, Taraba 9, Nasarawa 7, Bauchi 4, Bayelsa and Delta State got 3 new cases, while Ekiti, Niger and Ogun State recorded 3 new cases and Akwa Ibom got 1. 134,496 have been treated and discharged, while the death toll is now 1,923. This is still the news at 10 on NTAi News 24. Let's take a break. Before we go, state government to key into federal government. After the break.
Advertising your goods and services on the right channel gives you an edge over your competitors. NTAi News 24 has all the platforms for your target audience. The station is on DSTV channel 419, GoTV channel 46, StarTimes channel 101, and Free TV channel 703. With our digital format and wide range, we can reach your customers in next to no time. We are eager to promote your business, goods, and services. So, partner with us for a very rewarding business experience. For more information, please call Henry on 0803-379-0884 or visit our office at NTAi Headquarters, Area 11, Garki, Abuja. NTAi News 24. News and more news.
Approaching this site of utmost beauty occasioned by chains of rocks of varying sizes, points to the fact that the journey leads to a town with rich historical landmarks and sites of tourism significance. It's a journey to Das, the headquarters of Das local government area, Bauchi State, northeastern Nigeria. Das covers an area of about 535 kilometers square and consists of 11 districts, which are Bununu, Wandi,
Bundot,
Polchi, Lukshi, Baraza, Dot, Bajar, Bajel, Dur, and Zumbul. The town is characterized by two distinct climate conditions, which are dry and wet seasons. As it is located within the Guinea savanna type of climate. Geologically, Das is located on the basement complex rocks of North Central Highland. Thus, it is surrounded by rocks of different sizes, which gives the location its aesthetic design, hence pleasing to sight. The choice of this location to settle by ancient inhabitants was indeed not detached from the antecedents of their term.
Historically, in the northern settlements, the ancient towns had traditionally built walls to protect themselves against the invaders during the jihad period. Then our ancestors, due to their wisdom, being warriors, they now found it more advantageous. One time will not permit them to build that wall because they were migrated from the ancient Borno Empire. Ngazargamu settled in many places, including Lapi and Baribari, the present headquarters of Nasarawa State. Then in Bununu, the present headquarters of Tafabale local government, they moved down here under the leadership of Mumini, who was the leader of the entourage of the 1841. Therefore, the surrounding that you see, he now see, okay, let us settle here so that our enemies will not have direct access to conquer and defeat us. It's a military strategy which even now, if you look at it critically, you believe with me that yes, our ancestors were truly warriors. They have that vision, the wisdom. That's the reason. And their ideas served them up till our generations.
Of all the rocks that surround Das town, Dutsimbula is the highest. It has a height of 4,100 meters above sea level. Therefore, it can be seen from several kilometers away when one approaches Das from all directions.
Dutsimbula is a very prominent feature that as soon as you are coming out from Bauchi on a clear day, leaving Bauchi from about 10 kilometers, you can be able to sight Dutsimbula. And if you are coming from Jos area, you can see Dutsimbula the moment you get to around Toro. You will see Dutsimbula.
Bula Rock has features of towering peaks and rocky boulders covered with trees, hence making it look like a forest dotted with rocks owing to the fairly thick vegetation. At the foot of the mountain, where the ancient inhabitants of Das settled before moving to the present location, there still exists the structure of the Colonial Treasury building, which was built in 1923 by the colonial masters. It served as the Bauchi Das Province Native Authority Liaison Office as well as the Treasury, where revenue and levies after collection are gathered for onward delivery to the authorities. Close to it is a mosque with historical importance to the people of Dars. It was built in 1841 by the early Muslim settlers. Although the mosque has undergone renovations over time in order to repair structural defects, its traditional architectural design, typical of ancient northern Nigeria, is still maintained. Bula Rock is a massive rock with an unimaginable beauty as well as tourist potential. Viewing the entire area of Dars town from the top of the rock reveals the architectural beauty of the ancient town. Tourists will have a lot to remember once they experience what this historic and beautiful rocks offer. Gushing from the top of the mountain is a beautiful waterfall named Paandi by the inhabitants. The waterfall serves as one of the major sources of water for the ancient inhabitants. Even today, the waterfall remains readily available for use by those who climb the beautiful rock, either for sightseeing or for other purposes. Watching the waterfall from the top of the hill is a beautiful sight to behold. The cool air which blows from the top of the mountain, especially around the waterfalls area, is indeed enjoyable. From and towards any direction you move on the Bula Rock, you will certainly marvel at what nature has done to the historic rock in terms of beauty. Beyond that, the purpose it served in ancient times is what makes it a historic rock with utmost significance to the people. So, this aspect cannot be swept under the carpet.
Dutse Bula is a unique mountain in this community. One of the highest.